All right, so we have Andrew Schulz talking about Brendan Schaub and Khalyla with this other YouTuber, podcaster guy, True Geordie. And I actually didn't even know who this guy was before I listened to this, but it was a pretty good podcast. And he brought up the Brendan Schaub drama, so I have some respect for him. And they get into that. Andrew gives his opinion on it, and they both kind of defend Brendan and trash Khalyla. Also, this guy took a shot at Khalyla, which was pretty good. He called Khalyla Brendan's right-hand man.
Yep. Fear as creators. Look, let's take someone who did something like actually fucking a bit dodgy, which was that Khalyla situation, right? This guy evaporated, right? He's now just like Brendan Schaub's right-hand man or whatever the fuck's going on over here. Like, he hid away. When you show weakness like that, that's when the rest of the world are like,
oh, you're guilty.
He did something.
Did it.
And I'm like...
So I don't think Khalyla fans will be too happy with that, but I thought that was pretty funny. And I feel like he's just saying what everyone's thinking, even though I know Chris does have a big podcast, but I don't think he does appearances on other people's podcasts anymore, really. I don't know, I could be wrong, but I think he mostly just does a podcast with his brother, and then he does a podcast with Brendan Schaub. So it doesn't sound like too many people want to have him on, or maybe he doesn't want to go on too many podcasts. Maybe he wants to keep it low. But with Andrew's response here, it sounds like he couldn't agree more with what this guy was saying. And then at the end, he's like, yep, it shows he's guilty.
Brendan Schaub's right-hand man or whatever the fuck's going on over here. Like, he hid away. When you show weakness like that, that's when the rest of the world are like,
oh, you're guilty.
He did something.
Did it.
And I'm like...
I think he probably could have said yeah a couple more times, but I think he's agreeing with him. Or maybe he's just uncomfortable. That's also what it could be, because that was a kind of weird response. He said yeah a little too many times. But with Khalyla's cancellation, I could understand how it put comedians in a tough spot, because either way, you're probably going to get some shit. Like, if you continue to support him and you associate with him, people are obviously going to get pissed. And then if you screw up, they're going to use that against you. The fact that you were still friends with him through all that, like people are doing with Brendan Schaub when he went through all the Bobby Lee drama. I saw a lot of people bringing up how he still platforms Khalyla and Brian Callen. So Brendan's really in a shitty spot, because no matter what happens, like any drama he's involved with, no matter if he's right or wrong, people are going to use that against him. They're going to be like, how are we trusting this guy? Look who he's hanging out with. Like, he's obviously a piece of shit. But also, if you're somebody that was friends with Khalyla and you cut him off and you just stopped associating with him, I'm sure his fans are probably pissed at them, because it feels like you're just like leaving him behind. Like, his career is falling apart, and now you're just like, oh, I don't want anything to do with that. I'd rather just stop associating with him. And it sounds like a good amount of people did that. Or maybe Chris just doesn't want to go on these podcasts. That's possible, but either way, it's a bad look. Like Geordie and Andrew were saying, the fact that he's just hidden away with Brendan Schaub now isn't really the best sign. And I actually want to play a little more of this clip, because they get into how Dave Portnoy handled his cancellation, because he handled it very well and it barely even affected him. Like, people should have taken notes on that.
Like, straight on. Like, you look at like Portnoy, the way he handled, Dave Portnoy from Barstool.
He took that shit on like I would have took it on.
And here's the thing. The beautiful thing is that you let people know, yo, there's a cost to talking shit about me.
Oh, yeah.
Are you like, and I even, we talk about this with Jake a lot with his fights. It's like, fighting Jake Paul isn't just in the ring. It's the lead up where everything that you've ever done in your life is going to be fucking brought up. It's going to be horrible. He's going to put you through
This should just happen right now, by the way. So KSI's, the guy who KSI's fighting, people have been through his likes on Twitter, full of fucking like wild porno shit and all that. I'm like, mate, you should have fucking cleaned everything before this was announced.
Delete the history.
You can't address it head on if you actually did some shit that's immoral.
Exactly.
Which is actually wrong.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's...
I think Dave Portnoy handled it so well, because he just came out right away. Like, right when that article dropped, he was ready for it, and he just came out swinging. Like, he had nothing to hide. He was like telling people whatever they wanted to know. Then he started going after the people that wrote the article. So before people even really had a chance to give their opinion and give their takes on it, he already switched the narrative around to be like, wow, these people are just trying to destroy my career with some bullshit allegations. And a lot of people came to his defense. It seemed like everybody was on his side. There are very few people that were actually like defending that article and still calling him out. I don't even know if Ethan Klein said much about it, so if he's not jumping on it, that is not a good sign. And like they were saying, not only did Dave just defend himself, but he went after the people that wrote the article, and he was really trying to make them pay. So I don't think many people will be calling him out anymore unless they have some serious evidence and they're really prepared. You can't just be like, oh, this person said this, unless you have a lot of people backing you up. But if you just have one girl being like, oh, he treated me poorly, that's not going to get anywhere. But Khalyla is like the exact opposite. People are still trying to cancel him. Like, there's this female comedian, and it's like her whole career is just trying to cancel Khalyla. Like, I think a few weeks ago she released these weird text messages and was claiming it was Chris, but I don't know, it was just way too suspicious. There was some really weird shit going on. And I saw a lot of people commenting, they just thought it was somebody pretending to be Khalyla, which sounds like the most likely case. And I don't really think she's going to get anywhere with this, but it's just something Khalyla is still going to have to deal with. And he really needs to be careful. He really can't afford any more slip-ups. But Chris is getting lucky because this girl is slowly destroying her credibility. First of all, her whole shtick is just trying to cancel him, and also she always claims that she has this bombshell evidence that's just going to absolutely destroy his career. But so far, the stuff that she's released recently hasn't really proved much, and it's just like random messages that could be from anybody. But now she's on Reddit talking about how she has this serious evidence that's absolutely just going to destroy his career. So we'll see. But something else that's a really bad look for her is the fact that she went on Def Noodle's podcast to talk about this. And that probably did not help at all. Like, if you go to her Twitter comments when she posted about this, like saying she went on the podcast and everything, it's just all negative. This girl's like, I have no respect for you. You went on a man's podcast that was calling innocent people a P word, which should mean something to you. Another person said, you went on this man's podcast. He openly told somebody to off themselves. Supporting Def Noodles means you support this behavior. So it all just backfired on her. I don't know what the hell she was thinking. Well, actually, Def Noodles is probably just the only person that will listen to her and take her seriously. So I don't think much is going to come from this, unless Khalyla is still out there doing some sketchy shit. But if he's still doing that kind of stuff, you'd have to be a complete idiot, and he has a real serious problem. And going back to that clip that I just played, they brought up KSI and the guy that he's fighting, and it's funny they mentioned that he like got exposed for his Twitter history or something, because that fight was actually canceled, I believe, because that dude has a white power tattoo on his stomach. Alright, so now let's carry on to when they talk about the Brendan Schaub drama, and they talk about how Brendan's a great guy and everything, and they defend him, and then they talk about how Khalyla knew what she was doing, and I think Andrew says that he believes that she was behind the subreddit.
Disarray.
Brendan's, and yeah, people come after him straight away.
I mean, what happens on Reddit to him, and he's actually a really sweet guy.
I love him.
Really
like,
nice.
He's
a fucking,
he's
really
one of the inspiration. Yeah, people want to say what they want about his comedy, but the guy,
he's 3 years in comedy.
The guy was a fucking top 10 heavyweight in MMA. He's done well. He's done a bit of successful comedian, whatever people think about it. I felt like he got a raw deal, you know. And that girl, like the way she was like. The way they were trying, oh, sorry, we didn't mean to.
Oh, no, you meant it.
Fuck off.
You know what it was. And you were engaging the Reddit. You were making the Reddit cook it up. Yeah. And honestly, when we had him on, we had like a talk with him about, like, I think that you have to, like we were talking about, I think you have to face this head on. I think you have to be funny about this. Like, you have all these people who are listening to your content, consuming your content, and they're using it to make fun of you. But at the same time, they're consuming it. Engage with them. Make fun of this. Sell fucking merch with the sayings that are made. Like these people are invested in you. Find a way where you can galvanize those people. And I think if you show them that it's funny, you show them that there's a sense of humor, I actually think that they would like turn it and support.
100%. And that's what you're on about with me, was when people came to laugh at me, they were like, fuck me, this guy doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't give a fuck, and he's good.
Is it possible to feel like you're winning when I'm...
I agree with Andrew. I think Brendan should play into some of the hate he gets, because I think either the fans would like it and like it would help him sell merch and everything, or maybe they wouldn't think it's cool anymore and they'd be like, oh my god, like he's in on the joke with us, this just sucks. But instead he takes himself too seriously. Like, if he really wanted to get rid of the hate, you got to somehow prove that you don't care about it, and you'll play into it. Like, you'll make yourself the joke. He just handled the truck walk situation so poorly. Too bad Dave Portnoy wasn't coaching him, because he probably would have had no problem with something like that. But instead, Brendan tried to like do it all behind the scenes and not talk about it at all, not mention any of it, even though obviously everyone knows about it. Like, he's so goofy. The whole internet is talking about this, and he just wants to play it off like nothing's going on. Like, at that point, you need to talk about it. He only started talking about it once it just completely blew up in his face, and it was too late. But it's funny, after all that, Khalyla probably took the biggest hit, and she came out of it looking the worst. Like, this is a big podcast right here, and they're defending Brendan, and they're talking trash about Khalyla, and they're saying they think she was on the subreddit. So if Brendan just tried to handle all this like right away and didn't try to do it all behind the scenes, it probably wouldn't have gone that bad for him. Like, if he didn't threaten Bobby and do that whole like tough guy act and have Brian call him and threaten his career and everything, then he would have saved himself a lot of stress and time, and this would have been over a lot quicker, and him and Bobby might still be friends. Alright, so that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what you think about all this, then hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you at the next video.